So I'd like to catch up and talk with many of the suppliers and exhibitors as there are here today at the Taste of Cavan. And I've caught up with Paul Farrelly, all the way from Drummully. And how do I know that? Because he's got it on his thing. Drummully Boxty.
Yes.
Well, tell us the story, Paul. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much.
I tasted some of your Boxty down there.
Well, we're having a great day at the Taste of Cavan.
Absolutely superb, so it is.
Thank you. We're having
and actually, you're in a very prime position there, just inside the door, and that's great. People come along to you straight as they come in.
Well, I'm part of the Super Value Food Academy, so I'm on their stand today. They have me there today. So the Boxty, just to give you a quick rundown, the Boxty is a traditional Irish dish. It's famed around Cavan, Leitrim, Longford. Our company, Drummully Boxty, was started by my mother actually at a necessity in 1983. We started at the back of a van because when we started, my father had a job at McCormick's Products. Now, that company is long gone, and I worked with a builder at the time.
Synonymous with Killeshandra.
It's synonymous with Killeshandra. It closed down, and at the same time I lost my job. It was one of those famous recessions that seems to come around every now and again. So in '83 I had lost my job with a builder. He had ceased trading. So we were all at home, and believe it or not, we were all sitting around a table, and we didn't know what to do. So it was either go to America or go to England for me, but I was the only son. And the only son, my mother said she tried so hard to get me, she wasn't going to let me go. So I ended up staying in Drummully. So she started making Boxty. She was actually a cook in the nuns, with the nuns in the Holy Rosary Convent. It was just next door to us. So she started making Boxty, and then it's fairly labour and intensive if anyone has made Boxty. So I got involved with it, and it started off in '83. So slowly, we used to do shops, the local shops. I had a bit of a little Renault 9 car. So it's a kind of mad. So we did the local Cavan, Arva, Ballinya, them sort of shops around. So then it used to progress. So every little few pound we make, we'd reinvest it. So it has been going on, and it's funny, it was a niche market product. It was a niche product, like it was like just available around Cavan, Leitrim, Longford, Fermanagh. So then eventually it went on. So a friend of mine, she has 7 children. Nowadays, it's nearly unheard of 7 children. But 4 in the house are celiacs. So one day she said to me, "Can you do anything for me?" The Boxty used to love eating the Boxty when they come in from school. So I said, right, what I'll do, I'll mess around with it for a while, see can I take the flour out of it. So gluten's a big no-no in celiacs, you see. So eventually, and I got it right, and I started making it. So all the products I make there now, Drummully Boxty, are all gluten-free. So they're all celiac friendly.
Even the one I tasted
yes,
there earlier.
everything you had it, so you wouldn't know any difference.
No,
The joke of it was I had loads of labels. Being a typical Cavan man, I didn't want to get rid of my label, so I was making it gluten-free for ages, but the label always said it's still had flour in it until I used them all up. So nobody could say, well, that's not the same as it used to be. So cut a long story short, Slimming World people, that's a new thing now. So the market was still around Cavan, and then celiac people were looking for it. So then Slimming World came knocking on the door. They said to me one day, "What's your ingredients in your product?" And I said, "Well, I'm sorry, the list is not that long. It's just potatoes and a pinch of salt." So they said, "Well, that's sin-free in our slimming plan diet." So I said, "That's great." So then social media now plays a big part in everyone's lives. So all the Slimming World groups used to start saying, "Well, what can we eat? What can we eat?" So they started eating Drummully Boxty. Because it's sin-free in the slimming.
So now you're in the Super Values.
I'm in Super Value now. I joined the Super Value group, so now I'm nationwide with Super Value. The managers or the people in charge of the store can order it handheld. It goes into the warehouse and it goes to all the Super Values over. So the big thing now I'm doing is driving around. I was in Tuam last week and in Barna just outside it in Galway, doing tastings, introducing people to it and educating them. It's also now available in Iceland. They too have it too.
Brilliant.
Now, not Iceland the country, Iceland in the shops.
The shops.
So
yeah,
it's good meeting a bigger audience all the time. And for a dish that was, you could have said it was a pauper's dish, because we're trying to do a PGI in it at the minute, which is like champagne. So it's the champagne of Cavan, Leitrim and Longford, that area there. So there's a group of us trying to get the PGI done on it. So hopefully we'll get it through, so that Boxty will be PGI, give it a protected status in Europe. But apart from the protected status, I don't really mind if somebody in France makes Boxty, as long as you get this. I'm like John the Baptist, I'm going out there trying to convert people to it, because it's like you coming up there, you probably wouldn't have seen Boxty much at all. You come up and you taste it and go, Jesus, that's lovely. And that's what we had people from Northern Ireland, from Newcastle, Bangor, you name it, never had Boxty before. And they said, where can we get this?
So where do you make all this Boxty?
Well, we started, believe it or not, we started in our own kitchen. People say about homemade. It was homemade. It was made in a pot, boiled in a pot in my own kitchen, in my mother's kitchen. And then we moved on out to a smaller premises.
Where'd you get all your potatoes?
Potatoes come from Kilberry, Mitchell's farm. Barry Mitchell comes up, Barry. He's growing the best potatoes. I use roosters all the time. All the products we use are all guaranteed Irish. Should be a guaranteed Irish sign on it.
What happens if you have a bad potato crop in a year?
We had one of them in the year, so I'm suffering margins. But because this year was the dry weather, this year was just literally, and I'd say I'm on the last few roosters from last year at the minute.
Yeah.
So Barry says he has queens coming in and he has marguerites coming in, and he says they'll be ready in another maybe 3 weeks. So I'm just praying to get through to the next 2 weeks.
Because I know, I was hearing somewhere in the media where Keogh's Crisps, they're suffering a potato shortage as well because of last summer's.
Well, if they can suffer for another 2 weeks, there'll be loads of potatoes, because I know just outside at the minute, we're here at the Taste of Cavan, I'd say in the minute it's lash and rain, but potatoes just love heat and rain. So they're growing at the moment. They'll be growing out through the fields.
Well done. So you're going as far as now, oh my goodness, the next word is, are you in fear of Brexit?
Dreadful fear, but I don't think it'll ever happen. And I know.
Oh, now you're the first one today that said that.
It'll never happen.
It's honest.
Boris hasn't the brains to tether his hair. You know what I mean? And I have to say, right, I'm not going to get political about it. That little thing and attitude is just doing my head in. Why would you do what you're doing? If you want to go and renegotiate, if you think you're not getting a good fair deal, you go and it's no more than me buying spuds. I'll go and make it. But this thing of just turning your back on everybody that's.
So get back to your product, Drummully Boxty, and I like the t-shirts, and the girls are flying down there. You can't cook the little bits, you can't fry the little Boxty enough to supply everybody. It's going down a treat.
Yes.
Now, how can you make now, and I know you'd like to do it, how can you make Boxty a sort of a very posh thing? Because it was something that was made out of, all we had years ago was just potatoes, so Boxty was another way of eating your potatoes. So how can you make it a posh thing?
Well,
no doubt you've tried it.
I have tried it, but apart from making it posh, it's amazing the geniuses that are out there. I have bloggers like Slim with Pepper and all these different people that are doing different things with it. They've started making it. I make a pan Boxty up there. It's just about a 5-inch circle, and they're making little pizzas out of it now. So your imagination is whatever you need to do. You can see people making sandwiches out of it. Like, for instance, they make a pizza out of it, tomato, cheese, maybe goat cheese, salmon on it.
Use more of it.
Yes, just use it in a different way. Like, it was traditionally just fry it for it was just traditionally fry with an Ulster fry or an Irish fry or whatever you want to call it. But now people just use it now. They make chips out of it. They cut it and put it through an air fryer. It's the one thing that it hits everything. And you know, your life, I often say, is an accident. You're sitting beside me here, it's probably an accident. You ended up where you do what you do. But for instance, the people that are starting to use it, I would never have thought of doing, like, you know, Chef Adrian, he chopped it up and he started making it into chunky chips and put it through an air fryer. But it suits everything. So you have celiacs, vegans, slimmers. It's just one of those products. And people
it's a wholesome product.
Yeah, but it's a guaranteed Irish product. It's a full Irish product. Like, people are messing around eating pastas and all that heavy. There's people losing weight eating my Boxty. Believe it or not, and getting healthy at the same time. And it's full. Like, you take that pan Boxty I have, you put 2 of them in the toaster and poach an egg. Every morning I have 3 of them.
You've protein, you have everything there.
I 3 of them. I put 3 of them in the toaster, poach 2 eggs, and that's my breakfast in the morning. Keeps me going till dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and it's there for anybody who wants to do it. And just use your imagination. Them tortilla chips now. I see them starting to dry it out now, the pan, and making tortilla chips out of it.
Oh, brilliant. Well done. So what's the future now? Obviously the future is to get more markets and get in there and get more markets. Getting into Iceland is very good as well.
Yeah, Iceland's brilliant.
But the future, you've worked on it, your hard work is paying off as well as getting into more markets, getting more use for your product. And you've mentioned loads of uses there. Getting more use for your product is very good.
Well, I cannot see any reason why every hotel in this country isn't using Boxty as a breakfast, because if you come from America or you come from any country, you come to try the local cuisine,
the indigenous food,
and I have no problem supplying I will guarantee you I'll get product to any shop that wants it, any bed and breakfast, any hotel, any of the rest. Chapter 1, I have Chapter 1 out the road. I have Smith Steiner, I have the hard-boiled egg all around Cavan, all using it. So there's no reason. It's everything. You can put up a breakfast now. Barry John's up there, he's doing gluten-free sausages. You have sausages, egg, rasher. You can do a gluten-free breakfast that suits everybody. And you have Drummully Boxty, gluten-free.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, folks, there you have it. That's the man from Drummully Boxty. That's Paul Farrelly. And now, folks, we can tell you all about the Boxty. We can tell you how good it tastes. We can tell you how good it is. We can tell you that it'll help you lose weight. But you have to go and taste it yourself, and you can get it in Super Value. So there you are. Thank you, Paul Farrelly, for telling us all about Drummully Boxty.
Quite welcome. It was lovely having a chat with you.
Thank you.
I'll share on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.